One. Hi there, my name is Jody Monteith. I'm representing my company, the Liquorists. I've come out of retirement and dusted off my shaker to create for you a original Havana Free cocktail. First and foremost, I'm going to talk about the star of the show, the hero of the drink, which is Havana Free. Of course, that's why we're here today, creating an original Havana Free drink. And I just want to really talk about, Havana Free and kind of my experience with it more than anything else. I've been bartending for the best part of 11 years. I stepped foot into my first ever proper cocktail bar and first ever cocktail bartending job about 8 years ago. It was a pouring rum at the time. It's a new experience for me, and it's something that we love playing about with. Over the years, as with many products, particularly rum, and you can just see behind me here, you've got a couple of dozen, maybe 50, 60 different rums. And it's one of those categories that you're always experimenting, always playing about with. There's always new brands on the market. And Havana Free and a lot of other products like that can almost kind of go to the back of your mind. It's a great product to bring back out though, and to start experimenting again with. It mixes very well. It's really versatile base spirit, and from that point of view, a lovely thing to work with. My inspiration for the drink, I suppose, is I'm kind of clashing together two of my favourite kind of classic cocktails and giving them a bit of a twist, and hopefully going to make Havana Club shine through it. I'm going to throw together a Mary Pickford, which is a very kind of one of, if not the classic Cuban cocktail. Many people say it's often like one of the original daiquiris. Really sessionable. The rum shines through, and simplicity and finesse to it. The other cocktail I'm going to kind of fuse with it, I suppose, is we're going to use a kind of Singapore Sting style. I've done that twice now. It's take two and I've done it again. So Singapore Sling style, and again I'm looking for something sessionable, something long. People don't ever make long drinks in cocktail competitions. I don't know why. It's from the consumer point of view, it's what most people want to drink. You can spend £7–8 on it, and it lasts. It quite often evolves in the glass at the same time if it's made well, and it's quite a complex and quite clever drink. And it's very replicable. People want that style of drink, so that's why we're going to kind of throw that together for you. First ingredient I'm going in is obviously the start of the show, which is Havana Club. For the year, I'm going to use 60 ml of it so it shines. $60 ml of Havana Free in there. To lift it and give it a different dimension, I was looking for a bittering agent, and I try and experiment with different kinds of bitters. This is technically a bitters, but it's quite a kind of sweet bitters. It's almost like a kind of off-sweet bitters. And two of the big flavours I get from Aperol are rhubarb and orange, like an orange zest, like an orange oil, which again is lovely on a finish. Orange oil always comes right through on the finish of a drink, but just gives it a different dimension. You don't need a lot of it either. I'm only using 15 ml of it. In addition to that, with the Singapore Sling style that we're doing, I've done that. I keep doing that. We're going to use 5 mils of Cherry Heering. For colouring, it's amazing. It carries right through. It's really dark, very ruby colour. And again, it's such a rich, concentrated flavour that you really don't need that much of it. So 5 mils for me, it carries right through. Maraschino, drying, a little bit of sweetness to it, a lovely kind of almond flavour at the same time. And again, having played on the Mary Pickford and having taken inspiration from that, what with the cherry brandy being in there at the same time, and a lot of the flavour components that you get in the Havana Free, it contrasts and complements at the same time. The Havana Free is obviously a very light, very classic Latin style of rum. It's quite drying at the same time. It's got a lot of lovely citrus and grass, and any kind of vegetable flavouring, I think works really well with maraschinos or cherry liqueurs, but particularly Luxardo. It's got the right amount of dry to it and the right amount of sweetness. So we're just looking for 7.5 ml of that. Benedictine, Singapore Sling is the inspiration. I don't know why I keep doing that, to be honest. It's in there and I can't shift it. And 5 ml of Benedictine. Depth of flavour again, very herbaceous. Lots and lots of kind of herb and wood and kind of dark flavours coming through on that. To lift it all, I'm using pineapple juice, which probably won't come as a surprise to most people. It just works really well with Latin styles of rum, and I'm just using 20ml of pineapple juice. I'm using 20ml of pink grapefruit. For tart and for length, it's not overly sharp, it's quite round at the same time. I love experimenting with citrus, and I love experimenting with fruit as binding. I love bringing flavours together through the use of different kind of fruits. Pink grapefruit is just amazing. It works so well with light styles of drinks, light based spirits. And then 15ml of lime juice. Now, shake it hard, but not too hard. Don't want to over dilute, because you're going to use the fruit juice and the pineapple to lengthen it out. Hopefully get a nice little fluff on that as well. Get it split. There we go. And wearing half of it. I would wear a black shirt normally. It's quite bitter and it's quite tart, but the finish is definitely rum. And a lovely fruit coming through in the back of it. We're single straining, so I want to get as much of that kind of fluff and that little crown that we get off the pineapple on there. This is about as sloppy as I've ever been making a cocktail, incidentally. Genuinely. Just a little crushed cap, just enough to one corner. Pink grapefruit to lift it again. Oil's amazing, particularly on the nose. Simple twist. And maraschino cherry. The inspiration for the garnish is simply ripping off both the Pickford and the Singapore sling. I love classic garnishes. I don't think they come much more classic than this, to be honest. And then, dead simple, 2 straws, and I call that you're having a laugh.
Oh, that's fantastic. Now you've cited your inspiration for this drink as being a Pickford, but would you be able to cite your inspiration behind the bar to either a person or an establishment?
Yeah, easily, to be honest with you. But quite a few kind of people that I've worked with or for who have had a massive influence on, you know, why I'm still a bartender, effectively, why I'm still doing what I do. More than anyone else, it's my father. My dad owned and ran bars. He wasn't what we'd probably class as, you know, he wasn't a cocktail bartender, he didn't work in a style bar. He ran an old man's boozer. And he always instilled in me from the very start. I used to fill his shelves when I was 14, 15 for my pocket money. And his biggest kind of adage about being a bartender or working in the hospitality industry was looking after people. It was being a host. Whether that person was coming in their overalls and buying a pint of Guinness and sitting for an hour with it, or whether they come in and they drink 3 gin martinis in half an hour in your bar, it doesn't matter. They're there, they're your guests, and you should look after them. And I think more often than not, particularly in this day and age, we lose sight of what being a bartender is. I think people think that being a bartender is all about getting behind a bar and making wanky drinks, being pretentious, having more information than anyone else, and using it in a snide manner. And I think what it should all be about, and it should always be about, regardless of the venue that you have, or the bar or the restaurant, the hotel that you work in, when someone walks through the door, then you should be inviting, and you should be a host, and they're your guest. Doesn't matter what they're drinking, they're right. You know, don't impose on them. And I think that's the biggest thing I've ever learned, and I learned it I learned it growing up. I learned it as a boy before I stepped foot in a bar. So I think that's the biggest thing that carries through for me.
Alright, cool. Do you have any massive pet peeves behind the bar, either customers or bartenders?
Not as many as Tom Sneesby. It seems to be that everything gets his go, to be honest. Not particularly. I don't overly fuss. I like to see the benefit in places I go to more than anything else. Whether it be in the aesthetic, whether it be in the atmosphere created by the lighting and the music, whether it be in the bartender's mannerism, or I hate warm beer. I hate going into somewhere and ordering a beer and the beer comes warm, and you're not informed before they pop it that it's warm. You're not given an alternative. It's just a warm beer and you can like it or lump it. I hate going into a bar and asking for a drink and the bartender telling me I'm not getting it, I'm getting something else. I don't mind them trying to sell me something, because that's part of the job and it's what keeps you going a lot of the time. I don't mind asking for something and the bartender trying to upsell, but don't, when I order a drink, tell me that's not what I'm having and I'm having something else. That's my real pet peeve.
Alright. Brilliant. And just finally, if you could own any type of bar, what type of bar would it be?
To go any type of bar without giving too much away. I think that it should be somewhere that you can go any time of day. Somewhere you can go any time of day, and I think it should just be something that specialises and is good at everything, to be honest with you. I think places that you go into often lack, where they, like I said, they'll either be the best cocktail bar in the world but you can't get a decent beer in it. It can be the best cocktail bar in the world but you can't get a decent coffee. It could be the best wine bar but you can't get a decent cocktail. I think a venue should cater for everybody. Without, I mean, you don't want to be a jack of all trades, master of none, but I think that it should be somewhere that, regardless of the occasion, regardless of the party you're in, you can suit everyone. I'm not saying it should be a Witherspoons. I'm saying it's somewhere you should, if you do wine, make sure it's good wine. If you do cocktails, make sure, and you don't want to complicate the issue, make it simple. Make it 8 drinks you can do well. If you serve beer, then understand the beer that you're selling, and so on and so forth. And that's the kind of venue I would run. Somewhere you could quite easily take your mother, but at the same time you could go out with the boys for a night out.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Jody Monteith.
No problem.